Welcome back to the Institute for Business Growth and the Sales Accelerator Program. This is Module 2, Goal Setting, Lesson number 4, and we're going to talk about what holds us back from setting good goals and taking action on those goals today. One of the major reasons, and this certainly isn't all-inclusive, there's all kinds of reasons that we're not talking about, but these are the most common things that I see. One is we don't know what we want, or more importantly, we're afraid to admit what we want. Many of my clients know what they want, but they're really reluctant to tell me. And once I get it out on the table, they're almost ashamed, embarrassed that they're even thinking like that. So sometimes we just don't know what we want. Other times we know what we want, but we're afraid to admit it because maybe somebody won't approve, maybe it's against what we've been taught, all kinds of good reasons. Another reason is we don't want to work. We have grown up in the instant society, and when we have to work to achieve a goal, we have a problem. That's very consistent with the last item on this slide, the law of attraction. All I have to do is think about it. I was at a seminar a few years ago with a woman who created the movie The Secret. And she made the statement that I thought was really profound, because I didn't like the movie personally, because it implied it's all you had to do was think about it and it would come. And she goes, one of the biggest misconceptions about The Secret is that you do have to act on it. You can think about it all you want, but unless you take action, the universe cannot help you. So whatever we want that's important enough to us, we have to work for. And we have to do that because we have to become the type of person that is deserving of that particular goal, or we want to become that kind of person. Sometimes we believe we don't have the time. Oh, I just don't have the time. I'm taking kids to soccer and music lessons, and I'm working 60 hours a week, and I have to take care of the kids when my wife isn't there. Those are all legitimate reasons. The question that I would offer is, how important is it? How badly do you want it is really the question. When I wrote my first book, I had all those same challenges with kids. I've written 8 books, by the way. And the first book that I wrote, it had been a dream of mine for years. I'm going to guess 15 or 20 years ago when it first came to my mind, I said, oh my gosh, who's going to even think about reading something that I wrote? A few years later, it came back up, and I knew what was involved and said, oh my gosh, I really don't want to work that hard to write a book. A few years later went by, and before you knew it, I had the material. And I remember writing the book, putting it together into draft format, and I gave it to a friend of mine to read, and she goes, you sound just like Michael Gerber. And if you don't know Michael Gerber, he wrote the E-Myth and the E-Myth Revisited. And 2 things happened. One, I was very much surprised, and pleasantly surprised, by the way, that she would put me in the company of Michael Gerber. I thought that was really good. But at the same time, it scared me to no end. And as a result, I sat on the book for 6 months before I decided to publish it. And the reason I published it was I came to the conclusion that I am not going to let somebody I don't even know dictate my behavior in terms of Michael Gerber or whoever read the E-Myth or the E-Myth Revisited. And I published it. Learned a lot, pulled it back, fixed a bunch of errors. But it was a very powerful learning experience for me. Sometimes being comfortable, change is hard for some people. There's no question about it. And it is painful to change. And sometimes we know what we want, but the known is safer than the unknown. So consequently, we don't move. It's too painful. I know what I have. At least I can deal with it. What if what I'm creating is going to be worse than what I have now? What if it's not? Next reason, I don't know if what I'm doing is working. What they're really saying is lack of feedback. Because we have no measurement system in place to know the action we're taking, to know whether or not the action we're taking is working, doesn't give us a lot of incentive or